Hey, welcome. It's Brian, and this is Guitar Solo Reactions, and today is a special tribute to Jeff Beck, as we know, who passed away on January 10th, just a few days ago. And I've been a fan of Jeff since the late 70s. I will start with the first record that I bought of Jeff Beck's, and that is, of course, Blowback Blow, the seminal fusion record, and kind of started him off. Although he always had a lot of instrumentals on previous records, this is the one that really took off, and it has "'Cause We Ended as Lovers," which is a Stevie Wonder song, and Freeway Jam, all sorts of stuff. Scatterbrain, incredible song. Scatterbrain's probably one of my favorite. And this is a great place to start if you're kind of interested in Jeff Beck and you don't know much about him. But the thing I would really start with, if you want to know more about Jeff and what he does and what a great player he was, that would be this, and that is the Live at Ronnie Scott's. And I don't know if there was actually an audio version of this. I believe there was, but I've been not able to find it. But on this, he does Scatterbrain, Beck's Bolero. That was an early one, I believe, off Truth, his really, really early record from, or maybe Beckola, so there's a late 60s. Eternity's Breath, which I always love. He does Mahavishnu stuff. Stratus, Billy Cobham song. 'Cause We Ended as Lovers. Lead Boots, People Get Ready. Of course, he does Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. Brush with the Blues, which was a pretty recent song, meaning in the 2000s. That was a big hit. And weirdly, oh yeah, he does A Day in the Life, which has become, one of my favorites and many people's favorites. So that's kind of a great place to start. And his impact on guitar is immense. And I'm sure I'm one of many, 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 many people that'll say that today and the coming years. But like I said, I've had an amazing experience listening to him all these years, and I wish I could say he was a bigger influence, but I'm not even close to that good of a guitar player. So I loved listening to him. And I have to say, as I spent the last 24 hours roughly listening to a lot of records that I had not listened to in a long time, some of the stuff that don't hold up as well. And one of those is Flash, which has People Get Ready on it, which is great, and Ambitious, which has Mick Jagger singing on it. But the rest of the record's not very interesting. But as he went through his career, he did a lot of stuff. He did kind of a rockabilly record. I think that's Crazy Legs. And some of that stuff I didn't really buy because I wasn't really interested in that music. But an interesting record he did was with John McLaughlin. It's called The Promise. And actually, he's only on one song, and that's Django. And that's, I'm trying to think, I think it's a John Lewis song, a standard, jazz standard. And I remember hearing it and being like, wow, John sounds amazing on it. And I remember opening basically the credits and looking at the credits is what I'm trying to say. And I'm like, oh, that was Jeff Beck. I mean, I knew it was, but I just thought, I didn't know he was on it. And that cut has Pino Palladino on bass on it. So really cool. This is somewhat of a side, but this record here, The Promise by John McLaughlin, some of his best stuff for a long time is on this. There's a cool jam called The English Jam with Vinnie Colaiuta and Sting. Really cool. Too short, but anyway, cool record. But for me, when I got re-interested in him, it was because of this record. And this is this Who Else? Yeah, Who Else, sorry. And this has like a song that was kind of big, What Mama Said. He did that on Letterman. Brush with the Blues blew me away. Kind of a cool blues, kind of ventilated blues type thing. Blast from the East. Angel, all sorts of stuff on it. Anyway, and this was with, I'm going to have to remember her name. It should be at the tip of my tongue. But anyway, I love this record. And then the next record is You Had It Coming. And this one I love as well. Dirty Mind was kind of a big song for him, and some other stuff. He always tends to have singing on a lot of them, and I always find that to be the weakest part of the records is the vocal part, and I've stated that on other videos I've done. And I'd like to also say Blow by Blow was so huge it sold 1 million records. And then the subsequent record, Wired, I don't know how many that sold, but that sold quite a bit. So he sold some records. And then the third out of that, I believe it was 1999, was the Who Else? And then You Had It Coming came out in 2000. And then this is the record that came out in 2003. So these three records that I'm trying to hold up, Jeff, Who Else, and You Had It Coming. These are the three records that really brought me back into listening to them again, and they're kind of different. The first two are somewhat similar, but this one's very different. David Torn did some kind of manipulation of tracks that Jeff had sent him, if I remember correctly, and yeah, great records. So I love those. And then There and Back is very much in the that Wired and Blow by Blow. This came out in probably like 1980 and has great stuff on it. Jan Hammer is playing keyboards on this. I thought he played on a lot more of these records, but I think it was this 80 stuff that he's on. Yeah, Jan Hammer even plays the drums, and Simon Phillips. And they're also right around this time in 83, there was this concert called the Arms concert, and it was for Ronnie Lane, who I can't remember. I think he was in the Faces or something like that, the bass player. He had multiple sclerosis, I believe is what it was, and they did these kind of concerts to raise money. And Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck all did a set, and they did them in England and I believe in America. And they're out there. I'm sure they're on YouTube. I actually haven't checked, but well worth checking out. And Jeff's kind of in a good place there. And another one that I have that a lot of people love is this, and that's Guitar Shop. I love Terry Bozzio. I love all the players. I gotta re-listen to it. It's not my favorite, to be honest, but I think if you love drums and guitar, it's definitely worth it. And you can make your own, conclusions. I've got, this is kind of it. I got some other stuff, but here I bought this Jeff Beck Live Plus. It's got a lot of stuff on it. The great Mahavishnu's ballad off the first record, Inner Mounting Flame, and some cool stuff on it. Little Wing, he did that a lot. Big Block. There's some different cuts on here I haven't seen for a while. Superstition. Anyway, kind of a cool record. I gotta check this out. And then, like I said, for DVDs, Live at Ronnie Scott's is just essential. If you buy nothing else, then you have to have that. I have the Jeff Beck Story. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm sure it's cool. I loved it. And then I bought this, and I have to say I gotta watch it again. Yeah, I actually did a video that's off of this, their version of Purple Rain, that was not great. Not Jeff's playing, but the whole singing and all of this stuff. So I gotta check this out. I remember not feeling that it was his best performance per se, But anyway, and then I have the DVD version of that last record, that Jeff Beck Live, I believe. Oh, it's kind of different. Actually, they might be completely different. That one, the record was 2015, and this is 2014. Huh. Yeah, so this one I remember liking a lot. So anyway, I'm kind of slowly re-listening to a lot of stuff, and he's got so many different kind of phases and things he went through. And like I said, those records from 99 to 2003, Who Else, You Had It Coming, and then Jeff, those are what I really love. And Blowback Blow, again, I listen to that quite often. Wired a little bit less. They're in BECK, or is it Jeff Beck? Oh, they're in BECK. I said BECK. I listen to that quite a bit. And the one I've been listening to today was Commotion. I'm gonna have to, I don't remember the title, but it's the one with the eagle on it. And I had not really paid a lot of attention to that, and that came out in 2010. And I really, really like that one. For the most part, all the instrumental stuff is great. And he does a version of Over the Rainbow, beautiful. And Hammerhead's on that. That's a song they play a lot, and did with the subsequent band, with Rhonda. And I mean, Rhonda's been in the band as the bass player for a long time now. And then the last two that came out, the one with Johnny Depp, 18, didn't listen to it. And then the one before that was like, I'm blanking on the names because I've never bought them. I remember kind of listening to that, but not really in depth. So anyway, I kind of wanted to do this because I don't really know how to put into words like how big of a important player he is. And in contrast, I think what's amazing is he had this pretty incredible long life that spanned basically, as far as recording, 1965 till, this year he was doing, or 2022, he was doing live shows. So that's 50 some years, and that's an incredible career. And to touch so many people, I feel like, I wish he was still here, obviously, but I think he was able to do a lot of things. And why I'm not as tore up about it as I think I was when Frank Zappa died, or let's say Randy Rhoads or someone like that. I felt they had way more things to discover, where Jeff, like had done all of these things, and he's like at the top. I think, in my eyes, he has gotten better and better over all the years. And that stuff in the mid-70s was incredible, but the last decade, plus the times I saw him in the last decade, he had reached kind of new heights. And there's a lot of humility in his playing too. It's like it's unapproachable from a technique point of view, from a theory sense. I'm sure it's not some otherworldly amount of use of weird scales and all of that, but that's not really what it was about. It was just this incredible touch and approach, and the lyrical approach to playing guitar that no one's ever, gotten close to as far as comparative to him. So such an important player that I hope, now that he's gone, maybe some people that are younger or just starting guitar kind of look into it and start to discover more about him and what you like and what you don't. And the great thing is also what's different between like Jimi Hendrix or Randy Rhoads or whoever someone that passed away way too early, is we have amazing amount of recorded material and tons of great video stuff out there. And like I said, from the 80s to shows that just happened last September. And so there's a lot of things to go through. And to kind of be happy that they're there. And so if you love Jeff Beck, please give some of these suggestions a look. If you haven't looked at them for a while, or if you're brand new to Jeff Beck, even more so, please comment, and I definitely would reply with my thoughts on it. And I wanted it to be kind of a little more of a less somber video than some, but know that, I mean, I'm pretty well steeped in Jeff's career, and like I said, grew up listening to him and loved fusion guitar. I mean, he's what made me stop listening to as much heavy metal and then go on this whole fusion journey, which, you know, led to Return to Forever, Miles Davis, even, you know, more guitar-driven stuff, even progressive rock stuff like King Crimson or whatever. I mean, they were kind of happening at the same time. But I remember reading like, oh, fusion guitar. And then I discovered this whole world of Larry Coryell, Steve Kahn, the Miles stuff with John Scofield and Mike Stern, John Abercrombie, Bill Frisell. So it just blossomed into that whole thing. Pat Metheny. So my love of guitar was already there, but it just totally widened due to listening to Jeff Beck and kind of trying to find other people doing that kind of thing. And to be honest, they all had their incredible approaches, but none like Jeff Beck. Like, on a lot of those guitar players, I figured you can get there if you practice enough, train your ear, and you have some basic music ability. Jeff Beck, I think you could play the songs and do kind of the notes, but all the inflection, that's not possible. I don't think so. And yeah, so he's one of those guys that I don't think anyone's ever going to come by that's that expressive on the guitar. I'm sure there'll be others that come close or approach it or whatever, but I think he'll be looked at as one of the greatest of all times for a long, long time. So I'm Brian. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to do my own special tribute to Jeff Beck. Like I said, that was more of my thoughts on his music and more from the standpoint of, like, if you haven't heard any before, or maybe you haven't heard any for a while, that I thought I would talk about it. So I appreciate it. Thank you, and have a good day.